Hello everyone. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah. So let me join from the system. Something is not working here. Okay. Okay. So how many people are there? 15. Okay. Let others join. We start. Okay. My network connection is not stable. Let me check what is happening. So guys, any query? Meanwhile, if others are joining. What is happening? Yeah, anyone saying anything? So guys, seems like my Zoom is not responding properly from the system. Let me rejoin. Can you guys see my screen, guys? Is it visible?
No, Ashish. No.
Oh, something bad with this Zoom this morning. Check. I hope I'm sharing actually the screen.
Yeah, now it was loading. Let us see.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay. That means started working. Okay.
Yeah, now it's visible.
Visible? Oh,
Yeah.
great, great. Nice. Okay. Okay, so 9-5, let's start, guys. So I think memory management, we covered bit of thing today. What do you mean by dry code? Dry code, that means don't repeat yourself. So what does this mean? This means actually you guys already encountered this one. This means like if you are going to repeat some code, like if you recollect yesterday while showing your code, you wrote without function, right? Dinesh, right? You wrote without function, right? Yeah. So that means if that particular piece of code is going to be repeated inside our project, then we should write that inside a function so that we need not to write those piece of code again and again. So this is also one example of your dry code. So this aims to reduce repetitions of code and increase code reuse. That means if you want to use that piece of code again and again, you can put inside a function and you can call that function whenever you want. Okay, so the idea is to create code that is easy to maintain, update, and by minimizing duplication of codes. Makes sense. This can be achieved by what? using the functions, one. Second, the predefined modules in Python, because like already those are modules are there. You need not to write the code from the scratch. Like we saw yesterday, heap, mean heap, max heap, right? So those modules are already there. We need not to write those codes from the scratch. Okay. And abstraction and encapsulation, these are like a bit, object oriented programming concepts, where that means you can create object and you can call that object in another file. Okay. And so by doing all these things, the main motive is to use the code again and again without writing it again and again. Okay. So for example, a simple example is there, without dry code. Okay. Let's see what we mean by a dry code. So if you see this piece of code, I defined a list number 1 to 5. I want to find the maximum value. Okay. So here, max value, I have defined as what? The first number. Let it be. Now what I'm doing, I'm iterating over this list. Okay. And for every element, what I'm doing, I'm checking whether this is greater than the max value or not. So first of all, I initialize the max value with the first element. Suppose let's 1. Now what is my aim here? To find the maximum value in the list. So after defining the maximum value, I iterate over the list and I checked every element is greater than that max value or not. Okay. And if any number greater than my max value, which is what? Which is 1 in this case, 1, right? If it is greater than number 1, so every element, so what is this condition? Every element is greater than number 1 or not. If yes,
Yep.
then store the max value as that number, not 1 now. Okay. And in the last, what you did, you print the max value. So are you getting what will happen now? This is my first value. Then when I run through every element, this is not greater than 1. Okay. Then this
Yeah.
is greater than 1.
2 will
Then the
work.
max
3
value.
will work.
Yeah. So max value will be stored as 2. Then 3. Then 4. Then at last 5. And if I'll run this code, it will print me the max value. Now, similar concept I will use what about minimum value. Let's suppose one small example. Now this is without dry code. So this code works, but it violates the dry principle because it repeats the same looping and comparison logic 3 times. Okay. So to make this code dry, we can extract the common looping and comparison logic into a function and pass the list of numbers and the desired comparison function as argument. Now, what does this mean? So what it is saying, you create a function called find extremum. Like for both minimum and maximum, you are creating a function find extremum, and here you are passing the argument, the list, and the comparison technique. So you thought in this way, without writing the code multiple times for minimum and maximum, will pass the comparison logic itself in the function. Okay. And we are going to store the again, and we wrote the same number. Okay. We wrote the same number, same logic, result equal to first element, and we iterate over it. And if compare, so if you think what is compare here, this is the logic that you are passing as argument. Are you getting what I'm saying here? So while calling this function, what I have to do, I have to pass a list, then I have to pass a logic of comparison for minimum or maximum. Okay. And while I iterate over the number of list, what I'm doing, I'm checking if that logic is satisfying or not, like if it is true or false. Okay. And if it is true, I'm storing that result into number. Okay. And I'm returning that result. Now, how to call this function? So this is my list again. Okay. maximum. So I'm going to call this function. I call this function here, and whatever the return result, I am storing in a variable called max value. And as per my function logic, what should be the argument? The list of numbers and the logic. Here the logic I am using a lambda function. You can see here. So here the lambda function is taking two arguments, x and y, and checking whether x greater than y or not. So that means what? Can you recollect this thing what we did? And when we use this kind of thing, guys, can you remember?
When we want to just write a function in one line without any name for the function.
That is one thing. But if you recollect one example where we are trying to find the product of all the list element, there you could have recollected we use two parameters, okay, x and y, and it will return x into y. Can you recollect that one? Xy,
yes,
which will give you the product x into y. Yeah. So same thing we are doing here, but instead of x and y, x into y, we are returning what? A Boolean value. That is, if x, like whether x is greater than y or not. And whatever it will return, if you see here in the function what I have wrote, we iterate over each element, we pass this to this, we pass the argument to the lambda function, and if this result is true, then store that number to the result variable and return that.
Excuse me, that if compare number result you wrote, now can you explain once again that compare is a variable that we are giving. Here we compare. How is it?
Okay. I'll explain again. Okay, because this is a good example, guys. Like this will increase your coding knowledge here. So first of all, I define a function with two arguments or parameters. Okay. First argument is the list. That is understandable, right? This is easy. Now, what is compare? This is a logic, or you can say a function, a small function which contains the logic. So this argument or this parameter contains a function which is creating a logic here. Now, what is the logic? X greater than y. Check whether x greater than y or not. This is the logic. And this function, this small function which is containing a logic, it will return what data type?
Boolean.
Boolean. So that's what we are checking here. If when we call this function, small function, that means how many input parameters is it taking in the lambda function? X and y. The same thing, if you see here, I'm calling that function with x means the number, y means what? The number is greater than the number or not. Because what is this result? What is the value currently with this result?
0.
Are you sure it is 0? What is the initial value for this result? 1, right? Because we defined here, guys. See, guys, result equal to list is the first index. So that one value we are passing plus the number while iterating over the list. Same thing we are doing here. If you think it intuitively, whatever we are doing here, same thing we are doing here. But with the use of lambda function, where lambda function will compare x and y. So what does this mean? So now compare is equal to the lambda function. You try to understand like this. Compare is equal to lambda function. Now lambda function takes how many arguments? 2 arguments. 1 x, 1 y. So here x means while iterating over the list, the elements one by one. And result means the first number, what we are wrote here. Okay, if the numbers greater than max value. So max value, we define the first element of the list. If this is true, then change the max value to that number. Same thing we are doing here. If this returns true, that means pass this number and the first number and check whether this is x greater than x greater than y or not. If this is true, then the result variable change to that number, because this satisfies x greater than y, because we are finding maximum value, right? Now, once this is satisfied, you return the result. Now, if you can see, I define a function once, and I am going to use for finding maximum and same thing for finding minimum. But here, what is the difference? Lambda function will take 2 input, but it will check the condition whether x less than y or not. Please take one moment and try to digest this logic. Very simple logic, but effective.
Ashish, like again, I'm getting confused on that. If compare like that, that
Which part? Tell
thing
me,
was
tell me.
that if
Here.
compare number comma result. No. On that if loop. Sorry, if condition.
This one, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Like I totally get it, guys. Like it is very genuine that you will get doubts. So see here, what is this? What I'm telling here, this argument is a function.
Yeah.
Okay, that is a function. Here, what is the function I'm passing? Lambda function. Right. So whenever I see compare, whenever I'm calling compare, that means what? I'm calling a function, right?
Okay.
And this function I'm defining here as a lambda function. So the second parameter, while calling the find extremum function, if you see the second parameter, what I'm passing? A lambda function. This is clear?
Yeah. That lambda was clear. Yeah.
So when we pass the second argument, we are passing a lambda function. Now understand what is the input parameter or what is the logic for lambda function. Lambda function will take 2 input parameter or 2 argument, and it will return a Boolean value by comparing x greater than y. Making sense?
Yeah.
Right? So when I say if compare, so what I mean, I am calling the lambda function here.
Okay.
Okay, I am calling the lambda function here with 2 input parameters, because lambda function takes how many input parameters? 2.
2, yeah.
What is, here this is x, this is y. Okay, and if this is, so lambda function will, so this function will return a Boolean value if this function, that means if true. If true, when it will be true, when you will find a number which will greater than 1.
Okay.
Then we are storing, if that number is greater than 1, we are storing that number as a result.
Okay. So in this here, like we were passing that condition also to the function, like using the lambda function, we were passing that condition also, like need to check like that.
Correct. So that's why this one liner is like the, you can see very few code we wrote, or else what you could have done, you could have wrote another comparison function to return. But here we need to explicitly write it. We just passed a lambda function and it did our job.
It's like we are passing a function as an argument inside another function. Right?
Correct. Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is a function, and in the argument of this function, we are passing another function called compare. Now this compare function is nothing but a lambda function which takes 2 inputs and returns a Boolean type details. So now the question is,
in the if condition, the lambda function condition has to be like checked, and then the results were printing. Okay.
No, so if that's satisfied, if that's condition, so the lambda function will return true only if x greater than y, and the rest of the case it will return what? False. So if this is true, when lambda function will return true, then you store that number as the maximum value.
Okay.
And the biggest thing is here, for the second condition, to find the minimum value also, we use the same function, but in the same way, but only the condition different. If you see the results here, maximum value from this list is 5, minimum value is 1. Can you see the difference what we have wrote here and what we have wrote here? Same thing. So that means this is called a dry code, where you reuse this concept by writing a function and use that function multiple times in your code. Making sense, right? So now the question is, how we should be so much efficient to know these things? How will we know, like because if you'll see this for the first time, it's like, okay, this is also cool. But when you see this, is he using a lambda function? It's like, what? So these things will come by practice. It's not like we'll go for 2-5 days, and so the more you practice with lambda function, to think how to write the precise code without writing so much lines, and then it will come.
Excuse me, sir. Is it okay? We are practicing what we have taught daily. We have practicing that only. But you are saying that you have to practice a lot in those things, what we have taught. In GUI, okay,
Yeah,
my question is, in GUI, there are so many parameters, basics, strings, max, and somewhat other also. What you daily explain, we want to code in that concept. Where do we find the questions in GUI code kata, sir?
Okay, where do you find the questions in code kata? That is the
Aha, you are daily you are explaining some concepts. In these concepts, we want to practice somewhat questions. In GUI, there are too many questions is there. We can't able to find where we need. Can you get my point?
No, yeah, I got your point. So as a you guys are also busy with some other works, right? So that's why also. But I'm not saying you have to do lots of coding here, guys. So that is little bit rectification. Not lots of coding. Spend some time for coding, not lots of time. That's what I'm saying. And when you say lots of questions are there, you're not able to find this concept. So there is no such thing like concepts here. So you learned how to use lambda function, you read that question, and if you see if you can solve that question using lambda function or not.
Okay, I can understand, sir, that before we doing this a lambda that find extreme method, before that we are doing in the normal way, for loop method. Now we are comfortable with the for loop method because of the practice. So that I need actually, we want to code daily as a daily basis. In school, what we do, the teacher will teach the concepts. We will practice in the home that questions. Even though if the GUI is also having the questions, but what is the problem is we don't know where the exact question is. Today we are learning this concept that memory and try code what we daily we learn, but we can able to do only the concept what you teach, that only this file questions only we can able to do. For this means we can't explore more things and very familiar with these. After 2 to 3 days, we have to go back and search for this and have to look for that code, and then only we can able to do. The practice is not enough. This is the thing.
See, this is a good thing about you, that still you are doing the course, but you are not satisfied with the practice. This is a good thing. Please don't take it in other way. It's a very good thing that you are interested in coding. So in my opinion, this is what important. Okay, if you are interested to doing coding, that is a different thing, that you are not able to find your required question or whatever I am, we are learning in this session. That is a different thing. But you are interested in coding, that is a good thing. Now, if you see here, dry code is a concept. Okay, that means if this concept can be applied in any kind of coding, like whatever you are solving a question, also there also you can think how to implement the dry code. So I am not sure about code kata's questions and how they defined, whether they have made the question based on the sessions that you are covering. That
no,
I'm
actually,
not sure,
that code kata was like separated, like mathematics, strings. Like if you go to these strings, then it'll be has a lot of questions related to the string kind of stuffs. Like if we want to develop, like, okay, if we want to give in uh, practice about the dry code and all those, like the only way we can use is that Google. Like in Google there is a number of websites. Like if you go and type that like I want to develop some coding in dry code, or else if I want to develop some kind of stuffs in files, we can get it. Like there is a Geeks for Geeks and all those websites were there. If you go there, there will be a number of questions, and also there is a solutions. If you want to get a solutions also, we can refer to the GitHub and stuffs.
Yes, it's
But
okay.
Can I add a point, Ashish, here?
yeah,
Actually, the code kata has different concepts, like how these people mention strings are there separately. But then these things like memory management and dry code can be implemented in that also. In any code, we can be implementing these concepts, right?
right. So this is what I'm also trying to say. So suppose you are doing the string questions, you can use lambda function over there, right? You can try to implement the dry code concept over there as well, right? So that's what I'm saying. So try to implement this logic whatever whenever you are spending time on coding. That's what I'm saying. You are not going to get a separate question for this.
Okay, okay, thank you, sir.
Okay, so this concept you try to because see what we mean by lambda function is a small function to check some conditions, to do some. So whenever you do string manipulation, what type of question usually you get? Can you give me one example? String related question.
For example, there's a given string, we have to reverse and print it in an order or something like that. They have to check if the string is in palindrome condition or not. There are
Okay.
questions like that.
Correct. So here in the lambda function, you can define some argument or input which will check that condition, which will iterate over the list and check whether the back or the first element of the character of the list is same as the last element of the character. Lambda function can be used there. Okay, so try to implement this in that question, because see, you don't have so much time to explore coding. Whatever you are exploring, try to use what you are learning, like lambda function. And if you see whether you can write a small function and you can call that function repeatedly to achieve your goal, so that's you have to do. Okay guys, that's a different thing, but the good thing is you are practicing. That is making more sense, and you will get the result later, guys. So be patient. So I will say, like, keep practicing, because you are grasping also the concepts very well. That is a good thing. So okay guys, that is a different thing. We'll discuss something later. So today we need to start the data frame, guys. Okay, that's why I'm covering this with yeah. So data frame we are going to see today. This is really interesting, and you can use data frame and pandas in your work environment also, like playing with Excel file, CSV file. So that will be a good practice. Like you are going to practice in real life, real life scenario. Okay, we'll go to that. Now let's understand the naming convention. Few of the thing you need to know. So when we define a variable, if you remember, we write a variable and assign some values, or you initialize some values. So the naming convention says there are different styles of writing while defining any function or variable. Styles. So style means this is the universal convention that coders or developers use. So one type of convention is camel case. So camel case means two words will be joined together, but the first character will be uppercase. If you see how I have written here, camel case, C caps, here C caps. So whenever you define some variables, you can use what? Camel case syntax. So this is one type of naming convention. Another time is a snake case. So why this is called snake case, I also don't know, but snake case means if two words, so can you see how we join two words here? Or how we join two words here? Like when we join two words, one first character will be in the capital. And if in snake case, how we are joining this? With a underscore. This is called snake case. Okay. And see, this convention, camel case, is often used for naming variables and functions, which contains more than one word joined that all starts with a capital letter. For example, this one, variables and function. Snake case used by developer to replace spaces between the words with an underscore. This is one type. Another type is all caps, and if two are separated by an underscore. When we are going to use this, this convention is often used for naming constants. So that means if you write a variable with this style, with like caps, all caps, that means a coder who is familiar with the convention, naming convention, he will understand like this is a constant. And that is not going to be changed, because pi, gravity value, those are like constants forever, right? So if that is the condition, to show that constant, you have to use the uppercase or all caps. So for example, can you tell me what type of naming convention I used here?
Camel case.
So this is the example of camel case. Okay, and can you see here by calling the method this is the snake
case.
Snake case. So while defining the function, snake case. So this is just small examples. This is not like something complex thing. So you need to keep in mind how you can define a variable and your functions. Now comments we have already seen, guys. Like this is also one type of example. And the doc, you remember while creating a function, I told you have to write the doc, which will tell that what the function is going to do. Okay.
But the documents and the comments, when we were using that commas, like we have to use 3 commas, right? Like if we use 2 commas, it won't be commented out.
So if you use here like this, it is
okay,
won't work,
we can see
multi-line. When you are using multi-line multi-line document, then triple quotes will be a good one, because whatever will how many lines there might be, if you write this in between a triple quote, it will be commented.
So for a single line, we can use 2 like
2 or single.
Okay. Can you like try that once?
Yeah. So suppose I write first line, right?
This is a comment line like that. Okay.
Yeah. So if you see here, no, actually this is a string format, but
in
I'm
a paragraph.
Talking about
okay.
Yeah.
Get it.
So this or this, like this.
Totally get it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is all about what we have memory management practice. Now let's come to the real fun here. What is that? You're called pandas. Okay. So have you heard about pandas before, or you're hearing for the first time? I hope you heard about it, like pandas.
Yeah, you're talking about an animal, right?
That's what, like. So in Python, you are going to see animals name only. Okay, Python, anaconda, pandas. Okay, so all animal related names only. But yeah, in Python pandas, I'm talking about. Have you heard about this Python pandas?
Yes, sir. Just we know the name.
Yeah, that's why. So we all, so this is a very good, this is a skill actually. In the portfolio, you have to mention pandas. So if you mention pandas, so that people will understand this person has the exposure to data analysis using panda, or data visualization using panda. So panda is very useful tools these days. Pandas, NumPy, okay, Matplotlib. These 3 libraries are must having inside your portfolio or CV. Okay, now let's see. Pandas popular open source data analysis and manipulation library for Python, and provides a easy to use data structure and data analysis tool for handling and manipulating large data sets. Simple. Now how to use panda? Let's directly start that. So using panda, you can create 2 types of data, what I can say, data structure kind of thing. Like one is, you can say, data frame. Okay, one is called series. So when I series, so series basically used in one dimensional labeled array or one dimensional list. So what I mean by one dimensional array or list? Yes, either a row or a column, just one dimensional. So when your data is one dimensional, so here what is the dimension of my data? One, right? This is just a list containing. So how to make this a two-dimensional data? Okay, we'll see that.
We
Okay,
can add indexes.
okay, we can add index, or we can create here inside this. We can create another array which is your row, and another array which will contains your columns. So two-dimensional means in the x-axis you have data, in the y-axis also you have data, right? We'll see that while when we'll see data frame. But here this is a one-dimensional data, just a list. But like this is not that much widely used as data frame. But yeah, you have to like you need to know there is a data type called series. So which will be used to contain one-dimensional data. Okay, so a series is created by passing a list of values and an optional index to the series constructor. So here, first of all, we need to import the library. Again, import pandas as PD. So what is this PD? We are importing
alias.
pandas.
Method
Alias
of
name.
Panda.
Sorry.
It's a method in Panda.
Okay.
Is
Okay.
alias
I'll
name,
clarify
right?
that. Alias. So yes. So whoever said alias, I think they have the exposure to SQL as well. So this means a nickname, guys. Pandas nickname. Think like this, or try to remember like this. Here, whenever we are going to use pandas, we are not going to write pandas. Instead of this pandas, we are going to use his nickname. So that's why import pandas. Whenever you see Aj, that means you understand you are giving a nickname to that library called PD. So instead of using pandas, I am going to use PD. Okay, and it is called alias. Alias means the substitute name that you want to give to that thing. Instead of that whole name, you can use this abbreviation. Making sense now? What is PD?
Yes.
Now, instead of calling pandas, we are going to call its nickname PD. Now, using its alias name, you call a method called series. And in the series method, you have to pass a list, one-dimensional list.
Okay, so pandas is a like as we know, that is a data frame, and in that data frame there is a method called series.
No. I'll rectify you. Pandas is not a data frame. Panda library having a function called data frame. Pandas library.
Okay, pandas library has a data frame.
Yes, pandas library is having a function called data frame, and again a function called series also, which is this one. So two functions.
Okay.
One is series, one is data frame. What is the difference? Series will contain one-dimensional data like this, and in data frame it is going to contain two-dimensional data, means rows and columns.
Rows and columns, yeah.
Okay, so actually when we say a module, what does that mean? A module is the combination of class, objects, functions written in some file. Okay, when you are importing that file in the background, which contains the class, objects, methods, attributes, everything. Now once we import that, we imported all the class and objects and methods, and once the importation done, we are using that module to call its respective methods. Now pandas has lots of methods, guys. Okay, I'm talking about only here series and data frame, lots of things. Now how to know what are the methods and whatever pandas? Again, pandas Python, just search just this in Google. That's all. Now you get a link here for the pandas official documentation. Now, if you want to learn, because we are, to be honest with you, this is not only thing, like so many things are there in Panda. And if you want to learn here, see guys, from installation to how to use it, it is there. Okay. And if you see here, getting started, documentation, if you click, if you're trying to explore, get some time and try to explore, it will tell you about pandas and how to use this. And the good thing is it has some examples also, so that if you start for the first time, if you're starting for the first time, from installation to how to run the code, tutorials, everything, videos, everything are there in the official site. Okay, but after today's session, you need not to learn it from the scratch, because that I am going to cover today, right? But if you want to know about more functions, more methods, what other things are there, what other attributes are there, okay, you can go to this official documentation site and you can explore. Okay, now come back to our series data type. So using pandas, I call a function or method called series, and I passed a list inside it, 1 3 5 6 8. And if you'll see, if I'll print it, now this is pandas series data type. So to be precise, what I am going to do, I am going to type the type of S. Can you see what is the type of here? S is here, pandas core series. So this is a type here now, like your integer, float and all. While when you use pandas, that object becomes series or pandas d type. Now, if you want to add more numbers to this, you can add. And one more thing, here if you see, what is our aim here, what we are doing using pandas? To store data efficiently and to retrieve whenever it is required. It is kind of a manipulation and storing data thing. It is helping us with that, right? So if you store this data, do you have any index number here? Can you see any index number here while printing the data?
Yes, there's 0 to 4.
Right, 0 to 4 is the index number, 0 to 4. So whenever you pass any data, index number or the serial number is being created automatically. Now the thing is, in pandas, so many functionality, out of so many functionalities, one of them is you can change this index numbers also, or you can mention your custom index number. For example, I want to create a one-dimensional data using this list, and I call pandas series function, and inside that I pass this data as argument, and in the second argument I can, if you can see here, I am passing the indexes. Now the condition is this index length, whatever list you are providing, should be equal to the data length. And now here if you see, if I'll remove this, and type, this is 0 1, right? But I want a customized index, so I did this. So instead of 0 1, what happened? A B C. So you can change the index number or index values also here by passing a second argument called index. This is just one-dimensional data, okay guys? So now how to install pandas? So I think pandas is already installed when you install Anaconda. But if suppose in case you are using an older version, I know no one is using an older version now, but yeah, if you want to install it, this is the command you need to write inside your command prompt: pip install pandas. Then pandas library will be installed inside your system. Now,
Excuse me, sir. So you have written exclamatory mark in front of it, right? PIT.
So okay. So now this exclamatory mark is nothing but this is how you need to write the code inside a cell. code cell. So when you give an exclamatory mark, the system will understand this is a piece of command need to be executed in the cell, code cell, like in your command prompt, okay, or inside your ID. So whenever there's an exclamatory mark, you will understand this is the command cell syntax. That's why exclamatory mark. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, sir.
Yeah. Now we understood about the method. What are the other attributes of this Panda series? What is the other attributes? So when I say attributes, if you remember attributes and our methods, right? What do we mean by attributes, guys?
Variables.
That is defined inside what?
Inside a class.
Right, correct. So here same thing. So here using pandas, you created an object called S. So whenever I define something with a variable, that means I'm creating an object. And in the memory management also we saw that like we need to be careful while creating objects, because objects are going to occupy some space with these details, number and the index. Now once you create the object, there is a attribute called what? Values, and if you see here, values and index. So let's print this. Can you see what is happening when I call the attribute s dot values? That means all the elements using which I created the series data, that is being popped up. And when I call s dot index attribute, what is showing me? All the index number. So this is how you can access the values and the index number of a series data type. Now let's see some slicing concept here. Slicing concept in the sense, let's try to get the data based on the index number. Now suppose I created the series data type using this PD series number, then I have given the index as A to F, because I have how many? 6, right? A to F. Now what is at the index F that I want to know? How to do that? You have to write S, the object name that you created for series data type, and same thing while you accessing a list, like list element, by giving the index number. Can you recollect? This is the same thing while access in the list also. If I create a list also and I want to access a certain index number, how to call that? The list variable name, then the index number in this bracket. Same thing we're doing here. So that's why they made, so that's why pandas is like, you know, widely used, because the syntax is also very similar that you have already seen in Python. You need not to memorize or something, you know, extra thing you need to do. Same thing. If you see here, if I created a panda series object and I want to access the index equal to F. So this is how I can access S F. And what is this? I'm just printing 20 stars for visualization purpose, guys. Okay, this is not a part of the code. Just to differentiate between this line and this line, I print 20 stars. Okay, and if you see here, if I want to access multiple indices, that means not a single one. How to do that? You pass this as a list. Can you see what I am writing here, guys? So S here, if you single element, then F, right? Or anything. But if it is multiple, then like this, I'm creating a list here and passing A or B or C, or like whatever it may be. Now if you write like this, if you see, write like this, a subset of that series being created and returned to you, which contains A and B.
What is the date the result here?
Sorry.
Using data type, like in the
Your
date
voice is
in the
break.
sorry. Will you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yeah. So what is the D type integer 64?
Okay. This one, correct. So this is nothing but the data types containing, or the data types of the elements that are used to create series objects. Okay, that means the element. So suppose, okay, that's very good question. So if you see here, if I'll make, that means what I'm doing, I'm changing all the data, or the element type from integer to, can you see what written here now?
Yeah.
So this is nothing but the types of data you are going to insert here.
Okay, before that, we have to mention, like, if we really needs what is the type of the data, like we have to enter it, like give a code. But in this, it is automatically generated, right?
Correct.
Once you,
So it is checking what type of data you are storing, and it is already telling you that this is a float data type.
okay.
Okay, that's why.
And one more thing, sir.
Ah.
Excuse me. Before we are calling the S of F, we are just calling the one element. That time it shows only 8. That the element value only. It not shows the index value. But when we are trying to get 2 more values, 3 values here, we are get A, C, and F. That time we can get the index value too. Oh,
I slightly changed so that, yeah. So this index value is coming because of these two parentheses. You can see here, while going for a single parenthesis, it is not printing the index value. Okay, but if you pass this as a list, so actually what is my syntax here? The object name, okay, object name, then one bracket. Okay, here I need to mention the index number. But if I mention this index number in a list, another list, okay, then that time it will be popped up as like with index number. So very good observation here. Okay, so if you see here, if I want the index number, then what I need to do, I need to just pass this in a list, and if I'll print this, so this is visually very good, right? Better than this one. Okay. Great. Okay, now let's see about a querying thing. Okay, how to query from a, so now this all things we are going to do in data frame as well, because data frame is mostly used. So before that, this is the warm up things that you need to understand for which series. Now how to query this. So once I created, okay, here here I took only 5 elements and a list. In your real life scenario, suppose your column contains hundreds, thousands of data points. So that time, how to query it? So once you have the series object created, okay, s equal to pd dot series this and this. Now what is query here? I want to see all the numbers which is greater than 5. Now how to do this? Once you create the object using s, you call another method here called location, s dot location. So when s dot location you are going to call, you have to pass a condition what location you want to retrieve based on this condition. What location? So in this location, so in this s dot loc property, okay, in this method, I'm passing give me all the numbers which is greater than 3. Please mark how I used s here. So here s is the object I created. Using the same s, I call the loc method, and in the loc method, what I am passing s greater than 3. So can you tell me what data type it will return? Boolean. So that means it will check inside every number whether this condition satisfies or not. If it is true, then that index number and that value it is going to show us. Are you getting what is happening here? So s greater than 3, that means it will check each element and return true or false. So when it satisfies this condition, it will return true. And once it is returned true, LOC will capture that part or that index number and value. Okay, if you print this, what is the output we are getting? D and E. So this is how you can query from a series D type.
The only
That
the
means
part which is true for this condition, it will be stored in this, right?
right. So according to the condition, it will return you. That's what you said, right?
If it is true for this condition, then the true
Huh.
values will be stored in this.
Correct. So whenever this condition will return true, that value is going to be stored and shown to you. And we are storing these values in another variable called SQuery, and we are printing the results.
It is not returning any Boolean value. It is only the integers only.
Yeah. So Boolean value is being handled inside here. That is true, then it is getting that index and its value.
Okay.
So that is being handled by this LOC, s.loc.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can write the same thing using a different style. Same thing. So one thing is this style that we just saw. Another is like this. Can you see what is happening here if I'll do the same? See, this is what we just saw above, right? And you without using .loc also you can able to fetch the same. But there what you need to do? You need to remove this .loc. This is also will work. The output and the aim is here same, but the method or the way are different. We are achieving the same thing but with a different. Here LOC in data frame we'll see something called ILOC that you're going to see in few minutes. Any query on this? Okay, so what I'm going to do, let's go to our data frame. Okay, sorry, this is data frame 72. So data frame is now what you need to understand properly, because this is what you are going to use, because in our work or everywhere we're not storing 1D data, right? All in forms of rows and columns. So when we have the data in forms of rows and columns, their data frame can be used. So series and data frame, you got the difference here from Pandas library. So series for 1D data and data frame that you are going to see right now is for 2D data. So when I say two-dimensional data structure that can store, manipulate data in rows and columns, it is similar to a spreadsheet or a SQL or database table with rows and columns. So this Pandas is covering so many types like Excel file data type, spreadsheet data type. So that's why it is bit popular. Okay. Now the question is here, how to create a data frame? Now data frame can be created from like in a variety of ways. The different ways are there. What are the different ways? It can be created from a list of dictionaries. We'll see with example. Okay, list of dictionaries, from a NumPy array. So from an array also you can create a data frame. From a list of dictionaries also you can create data frame. From a CSV file, and this is by default. So that means if you are reading the data from a Excel or CSV file, by default it will create the data frame from you. You just need to write pandas dot read CSV method. We'll see that. We'll see that with example. Let's not discuss right now. With example, we'll see. So once you read that CSV file, the return type is a data frame. You need not to create also the data frame. You just read the CSV file and the results will be a data frame, and it will be, we'll see how, like, I also like everyone, that's why I like data frame. Like the way of displaying the data to you is like very interactive. Now, as I said, there is different way. One way is to create the data frame from a list of dictionary, right? Now create a list of dictionary. If you guys want to do, you can do along with me also. If you are finding this interesting right now. Okay. So here, if you see, I created a list, okay, of dictionaries. That means, can you tell me how many elements did my list containing here?
4.
3.
4. Is it 4?
3.
3.
Right. So when I say list of dictionaries, that means the elements inside this list are dictionaries. Okay. This is one dictionary, then comma, then another dictionary, comma, then another dictionary. Now here 3 dictionaries. That means I am creating 3 rows. We'll see that how this looks like. Now let's come inside to the individual dictionary. So each dictionary contain how many keys? You recollect dictionary, right? So what is dictionary?
9 keys.
3. 4.
3 keys. 3, 4. 1, 2,
Please,
3,
guys,
4.
please.
4, 4.
4 keys. So each dictionary contain four keys: days, temperature, wind speed, and the event. You can see the pattern here. Each dictionary, so this dictionary contains 4 keys. Second dictionary contains 4 same keys, not different keys, same keys. And with respect to the key, the respective values. Okay. Now once you define this and you store this detail inside a variable called data. And let's create the data frame using this data. To do that, what you need to do, you need to call the nickname pd dot, in our previous notebook we are calling series, but here what we are going to call data frame. But here make sure you see how the data frame is, because this is case sensitive. If we'll write like this, pd dot data frame, it will throw you the error. This is case sensitive, so this f should be also in caps. Okay, so pd data frame method, and inside the data frame method, what I'm passing? This data. Now let's see how this will look like. Let's run it, and I am going to print. So guys, when you write a single line at the last, that line you need not to write print statement for that. Whatever line you are writing at the last of this cell, that is going to be printed. You need not to write a print statement. I'll show you the difference here, because this is when you do some manipulation using Panda, you will see the difference here. Okay. Now first let us see how this looks like, the data frame. Can you see what happened here?
Yeah.
Can you tell what happened? So keys are the keys become the columns. If you see, the dictionary's keys became the columns, and the values will be the value inside that column. Now how many dictionary we passed? 3. How many rows got created? 3. So this value is for the first row, correct? Because in the day column you have this date, temperature 32, wind speed 6, event is rain. In the second dictionary, it is the second row containing this value. Isn't it cool? Okay, one more thing I want to show you here. Same thing. If you'll do a print statement here, that's why I don't write print. Okay, while printing a data frame. If you see, guys, this is how it looks like without print. Okay, and if as soon as I write print, this is same thing, but the way of visualization is a bit different here. Can you see? Which one is better, with print or without print?
Without print, this looks good with animation and all those.
Yeah. So this is an interactive. You can see if I hover around this, rows, it is like selecting that particular rows. Okay, so this is how you can create it. So now this is very useful, guys. Okay, I'll tell you the usage of this. You can create also CSV file or Excel file from pandas and store that in your system and use in your workspace. Okay, now this is the one way. What is the way? Creating from list of dictionaries, right? Now, what is another way? Creating same thing using what? List of tuples. So what I mean by that? When I say list of tuples, that means inside the list, what should be there? The tuples. Now here, if you see, there is no key concept. So here there was a key concept and the columns names were automatically created based on the keys value, right? But here in tuple, we are containing only values, okay, not the keys. There is no key concept. Now how this column name will appear then? To appear the column name, you have to mention the column name while creating the data frame. Okay, let's try to. So I am storing this weather data. So this data in this variable weather data, and this is my list. And how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 elements, 7 tuples, and each tuple contain how many elements? 4 elements. A date, some integer value, another integer value, and some string. 4 values. Now 7 rows, 4 values, but column names not. Nowhere there is column name because this is a tuple. This is not dictionary. The advantage over dictionary is from the key name it is picking the column name, but here there is no concept of key. So what you need to do, you pass this data calling pandas data frame like we did above, but here you need to add another parameter or argument while calling the data frame. What is that? Columns parameter. And in the columns parameter, you give the column name. Now, if you don't give this, can we see? So first of all, let's run this and see how this looks like. Can you see how this looks like? Day, temperature, wind speed, and event we created from the tuple. Now, can you tell me if I remove this? If I don't give this column name, what will happen?
That names will not appear.
So name will be by default 0, 1, 2, 3 like that, right? But this is not making any sense, right? You don't have the name of the column. So this rule applies every time if you don't have any column, right? If you want to create a data frame, or so suppose you have given a task in the office, you are creating data frame, okay? And you want to create the columns based on your requirement. So this is how you need to create. You gather the data somewhere, you pass that data to the data frame, and in the columns parameter, you mention the column names in a list. So
but to use this, to use this data frame, the data has to be organized in the same way. Like if date, wind speed, and all those stuffs. Like if it is interchanged, then in the columns also it will be interchanged, right? Like
exactly.
not in the columns, like in the output.
Yes, exactly. So you need to be careful while mentioning the column name here, because 4 column names you are passing in this list, and this order should be the same as in tuple. This belongs to day, this belongs to temperature. Now if I'll change temperature and wind speed, then this 2 column name will be changed, but the values will be same, right? So this should be the order that you want to give. The first element of the tuple is date, second element of the tuple belongs to temperature, so that's why you mentioned temperature in the second element of your list. Third element is the wind speed, okay, here you mentioned wind speed. Last element is the event based on your requirement, but you have to be careful, like you maintain the order. If we'll make event at the first and day at the last, that means this column means event. Are you getting what I'm saying here? Okay. Any questions?
Multiple lists of top.
Sorry, multiple what?
Lists. You use
Multiple
tuples there,
lists.
right? Lists. Yes.
So list inside list. So instead
Yes.
of
Yes.
this
Tuple
list,
can
you are
use
saying.
list. Yes.
Okay. This is also very good point. Now, if I'll do this, let's see what is happening. Getting created, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So list, tuple, dictionaries. So the only thing pandas need is the data in an organized way and pass that into the data frame method. And rest of the thing this panda will do for you. It will create an interactive dashboard or a table for you. Now to understand the next syntax, I need to do something. I need to upload a file which I forgot. That is called, I think, weather data. Weather. So we are going to see how to read the CSV file, guys. Okay. And if you want to practice this, I already uploaded the notes in our G Drive link, but in under today's date. Okay. If you want to get this file, also the CSV file, you can get from that from that G Drive link. So just a minute, let me. Oh, I forgot where I have placed actually. Okay, this one. So weather data CSV. Let me upload this, and I think I need to. Let me upload this. So weather data.csv. So what I did, I uploaded a CSV file. Now let's see. I think this is not. If I was making someone understand. Okay. If you see, I uploaded. Now in your work environment, you have a CSV file. Now how to read that CSV file using pandas? Again, import the library. Call the
First of
nickname.
all, like that CSV file is a another form of Excel or what?
Yes. So CSV file is a so CSV means comma separated file, comma separated value. So those columns and rows will be separated with commas. So are you hearing this CSV file term for the first time?
I've seen it while we were using if the values cannot be changed, or else if I don't want anybody to touch my Excel, I'll just save it to CSV and I'll just send it.
Okay.
That's all I'll do.
Okay.
Like in the email, I'll just
Okay.
send it to the people's.
Okay. So you can explore actually. If you double click here also, could not face from the backend. Not able to open this here. Okay. So in the G Drive link, this file is there.
Yeah.
If you want to open in your system, you can open and see how this looks like. Okay. So CSV file is a type of file which is separated with comma. This is called comma separated value, like Excel, but in Excel it is different format. Here the values are separated with a comma. And you can also read Excel files also like this. So let's try to understand how to read CSV file, then we'll go for Excel. Okay. So to read a CSV file or Excel file, you need to call a method using pandas. So to create a series object, you need to call pd.series. To create a data frame, you need to call pd.dataframe. To read a CSV file, you need to call a method called pd.readCSV. Now read underscore CSV. And inside that method, as an argument, what you need to pass? The file name. That's all. That's done. Now,
Sir, one question, like you have first uploaded the file, right, from the system, you have uploaded to the group Google Drive, and then you have started using this one, calling this file. Okay.
Correct. Because this is a cloud platform. This is the cloud ID, right? So I need to first upload the file to the cloud, then using. If you are using your system's ID, then here you just need to pass your path where this file contains inside your system. So those who are using PyCharm or Visual Studio Code, do the same, but here mention the path where the CLV file is stored.
Okay.
Okay. So if you do this, you will get something. Now, can you see, have I used any word called data frame? No, right? I just call this speed read CSV and give the CSV file name. Then I got something similar like data frame. So what does this mean?
Okay.
This means reading file, it is creating automatically the data frame type. You need not to call the method again. You just
Ashish, and you
use
said
yeah.
for CSV, you are mentioning read.csv. Like if it is Excel, like what is that? Excel kind of stuff. How do
Okay,
we?
so I think here I don't have for Excel. In the next notebook I have that. Okay, we'll see that. Let
Yeah,
me see
because
whether we have
in the
read.
drive you have mentioned like
So
CSV.
there, yeah.
Mhm.
So there only difference will be read Excel. Okay, here read CSV. There will be read Excel. Okay, we'll see that in our next notebook. We'll see with the Excel file.
No,
But
actually, you have uploaded the file, right? So that you have asked, like, okay, we can try with you. So that I'm trying it, but when you are uploaded the session notes, na, in that divided the data as a Excel format, so that when we were trying to play with it, like it shows that the data as well.
no, it should contain two files, CSV and Excel both. Please
Oh, okay,
verify
okay.
once.
Let
Yeah.
me do it. Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
two files. So
Get it, get it.
CSV and Excel. That's why I made like to give you the example using one CSV, one Excel.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
So two files are there. Use the CSV file as of now, which I am
okay.
showing here right now. Okay. Okay. So this is how you need to read the data from a CSV file. Okay. And once you read the data, you can use this variable anywhere inside your code. Let's not do that. Okay. Now, once you read the file and the data format you created with this, with the data frame, now there are few attributes that you need to understand here. So three data frame we created, guys. What are the three data frames? One is from dictionary.
Dictionary.
What is the name of my data frame? df underscore dict, right? That is one. One is from tuple. What is the name of my data frame? df
DF tuple.
underscore tuple. And here this is CSV, df underscore CSV. Now using this three variable, I'm going to print an attribute called shape. Now what this shape attribute will give you? The shape attribute will give you the total number of rows and columns present inside the data frame. Okay. If you run and if you see the results here, the dictionary, if you remember, how many rows were there? 3 rows in the dictionary data frame. And what is the column? 4 columns. So this shape attribute will tell you what are the rows, how many rows and how many columns. Similarly, for weather data, how many rows? 7 rows and 4 columns. But this one, 6 rows and 4 columns.
4
Let's
columns.
verify that. Here 3 rows, 4 columns, 7. So the first index of this tuple, by calling the shape attribute, we are getting a tuple like this, right? The tuple's first element belongs to number of rows. Tuple's second element belongs to number of columns. Now the question is, how you are going to use this dot shape attribute? Now suppose you have to run a loop and you have to change the temperature or something you need to do row by row. How to do it? In a layman term, or those who are starting, like how they will think, like what they will do, they will loop through the data frame row by row, and row by row they will modify the values for their requirement. Now how to do that? How to loop using a for loop? For I in range something, like the number of rows, right? So you need to write a code, or you need to run a loop till you achieve every row. So when I say till you achieve every row or till you go to every row, that means total number of rows here. Now what is the total number of row? We are not going to count, right?
6.
So it is 6, like for easy purpose. Suppose you have a millions of data or a huge CSV file. There you are not going to
Okay.
count the rows, right? So there, this will help. So suppose I want to know the total rows. So I'll call this attribute dot shape. Now this attribute is returning what? Tuple, isn't it, guys? So this data frame dot shape attribute returning me a tuple containing 2 elements. First element is the number of rows, second element will be the number of columns. Now here, what I will write, df dot dict, sorry, df dict dot save. Now this is returning me what? Tuple. I want to know the total number of rows. What I need to do? How many numbers it is printing? Because this has 3 rows, right? This dict. And if you do same thing for df tuple, tuple has how many rows? 7 rows, right? Data frame name change, I call that save property, sorry, save attribute, and accessing. So what is this, guys? What is this 0? I'm accessing the first element from the tuple. Same thing.
Starting point.
Yeah. So sorry, what you mean by starting point?
The index value starting point.
So I want to know, I want to run a loop same as the total row number. Now you tell me I want to run a loop same time as a column number. What the modification I need to do here? I want to run a loop. The loop will run that much time where it will be equal to the number of columns of that data frame.
0 to 3, starting from.
So how to access the total
shape
number
of
of
one.
columns?
Is it shape of
One.
One. So correct. So this shape is 0.
Shape of one.
Right. You guys are right. So shape. So guys, so this is returning me a tuple. Okay. This is returning me a tuple containing what? This is number of rows. This is number of columns. If I want to access the number of rows, then I will say 0. So this will print what? 3. If I will access the number of columns, I'll print 1, or I'll give 0. This will become 4. So if I want to run the loop equal to the number of rows, then here I need to change from 0 to 1, and it will print me the numbers 0 to 3. And if I'll make this to 0, so the point is why I'm saying this to you, how to use this shape attribute. You need not to count the data frames rows and columns, or you need not to pass any numbers. You just call the shape attribute and give the index number. If you want the rows, then 0. If you want the columns, then 1. Then it will automatically go and check how many rows or how many columns the data frame is having, and it will run the loop. You need not to write the numbers here, or the range 1000, range 10. You need not to write that. That's why I show you this example. Okay. Now this is one .csv. Now suppose you have millions of data points and you don't want to load the data frame for all the data. For all the data, you don't want to load the data. Just you want to visualize first few elements, or the first few rows, or first 5 rows. For that, once you created the data frame, using that data frame object, you have to call a method called head. So this head means top 5 rows. And if there is a head, that means there is a tail also, right? So if we'll see tail. So now what this will give you? If by calling head method, it is printing first 5 rows. By calling tail method, it will print last 5 rows. So if you want to access last 5 rows also, you can access. Also, if you don't want top 5, so this is by default. If you want, so out of your millions of data, you want to retrieve top 10. Okay, so you can give top 10, but here we don't have 10 rows, but you can give like this. So this will print what? Top 10 rows of your data frame. If you want to, so if you have millions data points, if you want to print first 100, then here you can pass 100. That means 100 rows will be displayed. Now, if you'll compare this, all this stuff with a SQL query or MySQL query or in any other languages, this is a bit easy, right? There you have to write limit, select this and limit something, then it will, give you the required rows. But here, just the data frame object and a method called head and the total number of rows that you want to see.
Like, I think can we use a range here, like from 15 to 20 kind of? Instead of like first one.
So for that, we'll see with when we see the slicing. We'll just now, after a few minutes, we'll see that. Bear with me. So there, using slicing concept, you can select the number of rows that you want, from which number to which number that also you want, and also the columns that you want. If you want any specific columns to be displayed, that also you can do. Let's see that. Let's not delay. Let's see that. Yes. So if you see here, exactly what you said, I want to show from second rows to till fourth rows, guys, because Python indexing will be always -1. So if you see here, what is the result here? And if you see how I did it, using df_csv object, giving this indices in a list. That means select me from second row to fourth row. This is called data frame slicing. We can do this for columns also. We'll see that. Now, did you get this line? Any question on this? Okay. Now, suppose you have been given a CSV file, okay, and you have been told get the columns names and change the column names. That is your task. So first of all, suppose you have 1,000 columns, okay, and millions of data. How to get the columns names? This. Call the data frame. There is a method or attribute called columns. So when if I'll remove this, I'll tell what this is. Data frame dot columns. Can you say what happened? It returned me a list of column names, but this is actually not a list. This is not a list. And how to verify what type of data it is, guys? This is a pandas core index data type. This is a different kind of data type. This is not a list. Now to make it a list, what you need to do, you just need to call toList function. Something is wrong here. toList function. If we'll call toList function, now the columns are created inside a list. The column names, day, temperature, wind speed, event. Now this is, so now if it is a list type, now you are able to do all the stuff while what you do using list. You can access the element or index number using the list. So the point is, you have now the list of column names of a data frame. Even if you have thousands of columns, you can easily, with one line, you can get all the column names readily available inside a list. And if you want to change suppose you want to change this temperature column to temperature new column, renaming this. So you just change the second index value of this list to change new column, then again create the data frame and give the column name as this. Just for example, I'm saying we'll see that those data manipulation, this is a very important. So these notes I personally made apart from your detailed session, so that because I have some exposure of the interviews using pandas, data frame, and also how they're asking the questions. Based on that, I prepared this simple task, guys. Do this, do renaming, okay, change that column value from integer to string, change multiply these two columns and create a new column and store the data like this. So this
The
manipulation,
name of the list will be the DFCSV. Is the list
here
name?
there is no name of the here we are not giving any name. Here just we are printing the results. It is not going to store inside anywhere. So if you want to give the name, then you can give list equal to this.
Okay.
Okay, and if you can print the list, either you can write like this or you can write print list. Okay, if you're writing in the IDs, I think you have to write print. Okay, now can you see what happened now? So this is the list containing all the columns.
Okay, Ashish, like if I want to find a particular column name, I want to change it. If it is like if we have more than 100 column names, I particularly want the name of the column. I need to change it. How to find the index of that particular column by giving that name of the column? Is that possible?
So yeah, that is a very good question. Okay, so if you know the column, you can directly access the column by taking that name. And if you need to rename the column, we'll see. Just give me, I promise you, I'll show you all this manipulation. There is a total file with this manipulation. So please don't worry. Okay, I'll show you. Okay, because for that also, I think tomorrow I will finish this manipulation and all. That's what I am thinking now. Just bear with me for today. Okay, I'll show you how to do the manipulation, how to change the column name with examples in questions also. Okay, we'll do that. Let's first understand all the attribute and methods. And once you get this all the knowledge, then we'll directly jump to that manipulation. Please give me that time, that period of time. Okay, no? Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, okay. Sure.
Okay, now if you want to particularly access some column from the data frame, how to do that? You can see this is how you can achieve it. The data frame name dot the column name. Now suppose I want to access the values of wind speed, I can access data frame dot wind speed column. Now what is the value I am getting here? All the values of this particular column. Okay, so this DF CSV contains how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this column, it's getting printed. There is another way you can achieve the same. How? Using this, like this. So here you are calling with dot wind speed. You are calling the column as an attribute to this object. Here also you can achieve the same thing by giving a bracket, like you access the list with index. Same thing. Data frame with column name wind speed, but you have to pass this column name in a string format. Now can you see the difference here? Can you see the difference here? What it like if I am passing the column name in a list, then the visualization is better, right? If I'll remove this is how it looks like. But if I'll pass this with a list of values, this is how it looks like. Okay, the point is how to access a particular column. Okay, so the point is here, whether you write the data frame name and the column name in a list, or you call the data frame name dot the column name, both are same. Okay, now if you want to access two column, how to pass this? Very easy, guys. That's why it is very popular, very easy to learn. So if you see here data frame name, then inside this I pass a list. In that list I mention the column names that I want to verify. Here day and event column, and you can see the results right here. This data frame is returning.
If you're not putting it into the list, it won't return, right? Like
okay,
for that you are
right.
putting it.
Okay, so like this is what you mean, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's run this. Okay, that means it is saying there is a key error. So it is not able to recognize if you are not passing this as a list.
Okay.
If you are going for multiple column, if you for single column, this won't be a problem. Okay, but if you are going for multiple columns, you have to pass this in a list so that it will only pick those columns. Okay, now another use cases. What is that? If you want to access, suppose this is my data. Okay, I'll print this data and I'll show it to you. Okay, so this is my data. Here temperature column containing numerical values, and I want to know, suppose you have thousands of rows, you want to know what is the maximum value in that column. Then what you sorry, what you need to do, df csv then temperature, you can call the inbuilt max function in Python, which will return what? The maximum value inside that column. Same with minimum. If we'll print minimum, then 24. Okay.
Can we
24 is
write
the
it as
minimum value.
df underscore csv dot temperature like that?
Dot. So if we'll do that, okay, so that is also a good thing to, yeah. So you mean to say like this?
Dot temperature, yeah.
Let me check the temperature spelling is correct or not. Like this.
Temperature, yeah. Okay.
Both is working.
Yeah.
Both are working, and you can get the minimum and maximum like this. What else we have today? Yeah. Now another method I want to tell you about, describe. This is also one very important method while you're going for data analysis. When you have the project, you can try all these things in your project. So this will give you the statistical information about your data. So when I say statistical information, that means your data type should be numerical. You're not going to get the average value for names, right? So this describe method will be applied to the whole data frame, but to those columns which contains the numerical values, not the other columns. Now if you see in this data frame, I call the describe method, right? And this describe method is not going to be implemented on the day, because this is a string format event. This is a string format, but the numerical data like numbers or float points, it is going to apply on that column. And what it is telling me, the total number of rows, what is the average value of that column, what is the standard deviation of the column. Now what is the standard deviation mean? This you are going to cover extensively in your statistical session. Okay, what is the minimum value of that column, what is the maximum value of that column? All the information you can get at one place by just calling this describe method. Okay, this 25, 50, 70, this is called IQR range, interquartile range. So when you progress on this course, you will get this terminologies. Okay, IQR range.
Yes, can you repeat this?
Yeah. So you actually, your voice, maybe my network is having problem.
No, like I think my. So can you repeat this?
Okay. So this describe method will be applied to your whole data frame, but will consider only the columns containing numerical values. Clear? This one making sense?
Yeah, only that numerical values will be considered under that list.
Right. And in that numerical column, what is the average value inside the column? What is the minimum value, maximum value? How many rows you have? What is the standard deviation? Okay, what is the IQR range? These are the information. This is the number of rows. Okay, this is the average value of that column. So how we are calculating the average values, guys? The total number of numbers divided by the number of rows you have, right? So this is the average value for temperature column. This is the average value for wind speed column. This is the standard deviation. Now, how standard deviation is getting calculated, that you will know in your statistical session. What is the minimum value that we like? See, this one we are calculating using this, right? Column, then mean. This same information you can get from here also. You can see 24 is the minimum value for temperature column. 2 is the minimum value for wind speed column. 25% of your data lies on this range. So this is IQR. Let's not go to this interquartile range. When you will learn how to remove outliers and all, there you will understand when you have box plot, okay, violin plot. When you see data visualization, then you are going to understand this IQR. Now the context is
when
here.
you're running that, when you're running the
Yeah.
describe function, these are all will written. These will be written like count, mean,
Correct.
overall things will be written. Right?
Correct.
We
And
can
this
use
is
this, sorry, sir, this describe, we can use in the whole data frame, right? I mean, even though that data frame contains non-numerical field columns as well, we can use. This will consider only the numerical columns.
correct.
That's it. But we can apply,
Exactly.
I mean, the whole one we can give. Okay, all right.
Exactly. Correct. And see, whenever you get some data for your project, you need to do a pre-analysis, right? Exploratory data analysis. This is one of part of your exploratory analysis, guys, because everything you are getting in one place: standard deviation, mean, count, IQR range, everything. So now in your project, you can run this with just one liner, and you can take a screenshot of this and you can explain to someone like, this is my numerical data things. And in my numerical column,
particular column also, right?
so to do this for a particular column, what you need to do, you need to call that column. Let's see that. Okay. Are you getting it?
Yeah.
Or you can do like this.
Can we use it for rows also?
Use for?
Like rows. If we are talking about columns here, so what about rows? Rows.
So if the rows containing all numerical values, because when you call a describe method, it is considering the whole column as one dimensional, isn't it? This is a one-dimensional data, that only one column.
Yeah.
Right. So it is applying to rows. You can consider one-dimensional data only. And if you see here, if I will modify this to this format, let's see how this looks like. Okay. Now, if you see only to temperature column, you are passing, and this visualization also interactive.
Okay.
So can we sort this one, the column value?
We can do that, but you can't apply that to the data frame. That also will see in data frame manipulation. Okay, those things also, there is some parameter you need to consider, because if you do that, it will change the original data frame, right? If you sort that, it will change that in original data frame. To prevent that, you have something. No worries, guys. I'll take care of this data manipulation thing. So I made the notes for you. No worries. Like I'll show everything. Okay. And here one more thing you need to understand. What I have written, there are several ways to index data frame, including okay. Now the slicing and indexing, what we saw in the series, if you remember, dot loc I wrote, right? Same dot loc, and there is another attribute called iloc. So dot loc, iloc, two attributes using which you can access the rows and columns of a data frame. Okay, let's see with example. And what is the difference between LOC and ILOC? This is a conceptual thinking. Okay, don't get confused here. So when I say ILOC, that means overall you can think like this. When I say ILOC, that means I am going to use the integers to access my rows and columns. Nothing apart from integers. That's why I is there. So that means even if I want to access rows, I will give the numbers. Even if I want to access the columns also, I will give the numbers, like the first column, second column, third column. I'm not going to give the name of the column. Only through integers, I am going to access the rows and columns. This is ILOC. And the best way to remember that how I remembered is because of this I. So I means integer. Okay, now let's see how to use ILOC. Now, after calling ILOC, you have to give the slicing method like with this bracket, right? A square bracket. In the square bracket, you can see I used a comma. Okay. Now the left hand side to this comma is the row information, and the right hand side to the comma is the column information. That's all. This is so simple. So what does this mean? That means I want to access first 3 rows, or you can say, if I'll run this 1, 2, 3, 4 rows and the first column. Now what is the first column? Can you see what is the first column here? When I say 1, that means this is 0, this is 1, right? So that's why that means what I'm accessing. I'm accessing first 4 temperature column data. Can you verify whether it's correct or not? First 4 rows of temperature column data.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, that is 0 to 4 means it will come to. Actually, I'm cleared. 0 to 4 means 4 elements. Here we give 4, that 4 will come. Okay.
Here inside this Python indexing, yeah, you are correct. Your understanding is correct. So in Python, if you give 4, that means -1 should be there, right? But using iLocation, it is considering this last part as well. That means fourth row also. So fourth row means 0, 1, 2, 3.
As in iLocation, the first parameter should be the rows, and then second one will be the column, right?
Column, correct. Exactly. Okay. And these you need to be make sure if you are using iLocation, all these things are numbers, not name of the. Now if I'll pass a name here, suppose I want to access temperature, right? Right. If I'll do this, I'll get an error, value error. Location based indexing can apply only have integer. Can you see here? Integer. So only that's why it is ILOC. Okay, ILOC means it's expecting integer. Now let's see what is only LOC. Okay. So now what is only LOC? In only LOC, you can use column name. Here you can't give the columns in index value or integer. So if you don't use ILOC, can you see what I'm doing here? I'm accessing how many rows? Particular first and second row. That means this and this. This 2 row for the column day and event. Day and event. First column and last column. This is how you can access the specific rows. So again, in LOC also the first parameter belongs to rows. The second parameter belongs to columns. But what is the difference here? Now, can you tell me using ILOC how I need to write it? So suppose I want to use ILOC. What modification shall I do here to access the first and last column?
0, 1, 0, 3.
Right. 0, 1, 2, 3. Now, shall we see whether we are getting the same result or not? Did you get the difference now between ILOC and LOC? And the thing is, the more you are going to explore, so the best way is to what? Try it in your if it is possible, try it in your work environment. So once we complete the Panda session, I think you will be ready to try this in your work environment. Okay, so that this benefit you are going to get in terms of applied the learning you are doing, we are applying somewhere. That is the best way to practice. Okay, that I can say. So here also, okay, I already did this code in order to give. Now see this query, guys. This is the query. So now this real fun started here. Suppose, what is the question here? Select rows which has maximum temperature. What does that mean? Select all the rows which is having maximum temperature, or all the row. See how I wrote this query here. See, carefully observe. What I did, I called the data frame object, dfcsv, then loc. Now in loc, this is the comma. Left side to the comma will be the row information. Right side to the comma will be the column information. So this column information is clear, right? I need a day column, temperature column, and wind speed column. What is inside this row information? Yeah.
Day graph.
Yes. So I am passing. Yeah. Anyone saying anything?
Only wherever the temperature is maximum, that value will come in the rows.
Correct. If you see here. Okay, I think
I think he was
unmute. Although I'm not able to understand, but yeah, okay. I think it's like you guys can know what he's saying, but yeah. So no worries, guys. So if you see here, the first parameter is the condition. Let me mute him. But I'm not able to do it because of my system. Okay, I'm the host, right? I did it, guys. Okay, now if you see the first parameter, what is the condition? Temperature. So I call the object again here. See, I call the data frame object, then I call the LOC attribute, then inside the LOC attribute, again I am passing this condition for the row to be satisfied. Here, how to access the column? By calling the data frame again. This is the data frame. Then I'm calling the column dot temperature, which will be equal to if. So this is a condition. If the temperature column will be equal to, again I call the same thing, but here I am using max. So this value will return me what? 24 or something was there, right? Or something. What is the maximum
35.
value? 35. So this piece of line or this piece of word is like number. So instead of this, I can also write 24. That is not a problem. But that is a hard-coded value I am writing. Right? But
Ashish, like, don't we able to write it as like, location, and then like instead of doing all this like df underscore csv dot max temperature, do we able to do that? Like
you need to remove this part.
No. After that dot, like I'm just asking, like, won't I be able to write as max temperature like that? Or else instead of writing is equal to, yeah.
Okay. So here you want to pass the temperature column, right? That's what you want to say.
Yeah.
Maybe will not be able to do that. Maybe because this is the syntax. Okay. So the thing is how they have designed the code, we need to follow that. Okay. But yeah, this is good to explore. You can try this one. So whatever coming to your mind, guys, because this is a good thing while learning. So get this note, try this, whatever coming to your mind, and see what is the error you are getting. And please try to read that error also, because that is also, the error will tell you lots of information. Like I told you, the error told me that it only needed integer value when I used string in ILOC, right? So the errors also self-explanatory. So try whatever coming to your mind, like remove this and pass temperature column here and see. But the thing is, did you guys understand what we did here and how we are getting the results? So because of this condition, it fetch only that row which contains the maximum temperature, and columns equal to day temperature and wind speed. Any query on this to understand this query, or this is clear
Like
now?
all I can see is like that df temperature is equal to that max function. Okay, that is fine. It was giving us the maximum value which is in the data frame. But why do we using that equal to kind of stuff? Like we can just use that function and then we can print it like.
Okay, so you mean to say like this? We'll remove this and this one, just this one, huh?
Yeah, use it will
But
work.
here, okay, no risk. This is a good thing actually to explore. Now, if you'll do this, that means you are passing a number here. And what is that number? 32.
35.
So when
Yeah,
you
it
when
shows
you
that
pass
35 is
35,
yeah.
your data frame doesn't contains a row 35. You are getting it. So by doing this, it is going through all the rows and
Okay.
checking when this is
Where,
true.
yeah, where is the value is 35. Okay, get it.
Okay, but if you give only 35, that means it's expecting the row number 35, which is not there in our data set. That's why you can see, that's why I told you, if you read the error here, key error 35. Now we didn't pass 35. So that means it is looking for a row number 35, which is not there. Okay. So this is, okay. So guys, 11. So I'll take another few minutes if that's okay. Or the data manipulation will start tomorrow as per your convenience, guys, because I saw people started leaving also. So this is all about the data frame. Now we need to learn about the what, guys, the key operation on the data frame. Okay, let me try to take it for 2-3 more minutes, 5 minutes, then we'll continue tomorrow. Anyway, we are going to finish this data frame anyhow. So again, here read and write data from CSV and Excel files. Just only we'll cover this one today. This one, only how to retrieve the CSV file and Excel file. So for that, 2 files you have in that Google Drive link, that is called weather data CSV. One is weather data XLX. Okay, guys. So XLX means Excel file, guys. This is nothing but your Excel file. So CSV file you got to know, right? Read CSV, then the file name. Now, how to read the Excel file containing same data, guys? Same data, but in an Excel file, you have to use read Excel. See how simple it is. To read a CSV file, this is read CSV. To read Excel file, this is called read Excel. That's all.
That underscore file name is the mandatory, that the pd.read CSV or Excel underscore the name is the syntax, right?
Yeah, this syntax. This is the method they have already defined in the class, pandas class.
And Ashish, like, I don't know it's right or wrong, but if I'm having a Word file, and in that Word file there is a Excel formats, like whatever it is, like it's a tabular or something was there. Like, do I able to import it?
We will be able to do that, but for that we need to see the syntax. Maybe maybe that features is not there, but it is going to be implemented in some day, that I'm sure. So what is that? What the file format you said?
Word format.
Word file reading using like this, guys. Like
Pandas.
This you can search and you'll get it. Pandas. So yeah, so we need to doc file. Yeah, so doc file also we'll be able to see, but I think for that you need to have a other type of thing. So here, what is it? I have a doc file containing comma separated data. Now here, if you come here, people already suggested how to do this. So you open this using docs library. So that's why I said, always said, it is a process of learning. There is a never ending thing. Okay, even if I also don't know, but tomorrow people can write different modules. So here someone already wrote a module called docs, which will be helpful to read the document format. And after getting the data from the document format, you can use Panda to make it as a CSV file. So this is also you can do, but you need to do some certain research. That's all.
Get it.
Okay. Now if you see, read Excel is just a format and rest everything is same. Once you read the data using this and you store that to the variable, you can now do the indexing and start getting whatever results you have. Okay. So try at your workplace today. Try, like, if it is permissible in your workplace, try to load a CSV file or Excel file and try to manipulate, or whatever we learned today, try to implement that. See, because your workplace data you know better than anyone, right? So you'll feeling good once you try to access only particular column, particular rows. That will give you, boost your confidence. So with this, guys, let's stop for today's learning. I saw people started leaving. I know you have a work also. So we are not covering a new topic, but tomorrow we'll see, okay, some other stuff here. What is a group by? Okay, what is how to merge the data frames, how to concatenate two data frames. Like, you are all going to do all these things. Suppose you have two data frames.
Okay.
How to combine them. Okay, we'll see this. Let's not be hurry. And after this, the key operation I will show. Okay. So today I will only like, I have shared actually two files. I'm not sure you guys got that.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
keyframe operation. Until this, everything was there, I think.
I actually put everything. I didn't know like how much I'm going to cover, so that's why I put everything. So okay, I'll do one thing. I'll remove the other things that we have not covered today, so that you won't be confused, and I put it in a tomorrow's file. So here, so this key operation I already put it. Let it be.
Yeah.
Let it be. Tomorrow also again I will put the same file, and these are the datas that we are using. This we are going to we're going to see, explore the things. Easy,
Yeah,
guys, easy.
and Ashish, like, can we talk about that CSV now? Like, still I'm like, all I will do is, like, if I don't want to use, like, if I don't want anybody to use my Excel and like modification and stuff, I'll just send it, like, change it to CSV, and I'll just spread it in an email.
So first of all, comma separated values, and if we'll open a CSV value in a notepad, okay, if we'll do that, it will look something like this.
Okay, just a minute. I have downloaded that. Let me just open and then see it.
Okay, and if you will, it is not coming actually the picture. Here. If you'll see this picture, you will get now how this data is going to be stored. Is it
Okay.
the picture is clear to you?
Yeah. It's clear now.
Now, if you see the rows, I opened this in the CSV file, but in a Excel format. If you see here, the values we have, every values will be separated by a comma, like a column or the column name we are giving in Panda data frame.
But when we open it, actually, it won't be like that, right?
But no, you open it in a text file.
Yeah, like now I can see that, it's like this.
So if you share your screen, I'll
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you.
Okay, let me share my screen so everybody can see it, right? Yeah. Okay, so I'm doing it. Screen share. I hope you guys can able to see my screen.
Still loading for me.
Okay, maybe my network was horrible.
Same here. Mine also the same. Yeah. So any questions, please tomorrow in a office call. Yeah, Rajesh is saying like, please continue tomorrow. I have a call 11. I can feel you guys. I can feel you.
Yeah, this call and stuff's got.
So yeah. So if you see here, you how this got separated?
Yeah, it's comma, using comma.
Right, and the columns also you can see the column name separated with a comma, the values also separated with a comma. That's why it is called what? Comma separated value.
Separated file. Okay. So if I open it in a Excel, it will be like a normal Excel format.
Yeah, but this is a CSV data, and you are opening this in an Excel format.
Okay, okay. So like to open in a notepad format also, like we were using CSV.
Right, correct. The
Okay.
thing is the extension that matters. Like what is the
Okay. So
extension of
let
your
me
file?
do some research also on YouTube and stuffs, so that I can also
Because,
get a lot of knowledge. Right?
yeah, because this is what you can implement in your work, and this will make your life easy actually. Like whatever you're doing and the visualization to show someone, you can show using this and show to someone like this is
Okay,
my
so
data.
like if we try all this, they'll call it as complaints.
Now the
That's
company,
the issue. Yeah. That due to the data we handle, they'll call it as complaints. So that will be like
so
a
your
chaotic
value is,
situation then.
so your value is going to be increased, guys, if you're going to implement this in your work. Okay, so I think like people are leaving. Any questions here to ask from others or anyone, or we'll wind up.
Yeah,
People, only 10 people are there already. They are left. No one here. Okay, guys. So let's meet tomorrow then with this data frame.
Thank you. Have a good day.
So much,
Have a good day,
Bye.
guys.
Thank you.